Welcome into another edition of the Grown Man's Podcast. My name is Tom, and across from me, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing tonight, Hattie?
What's up? I'm doing real well.
You're doing well, and you are currently in close proximity, well, a responsible proximity, but close proximity, to my big brother, Rick. How you doing tonight, Rick?
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Been a long time.
It has been a long time, but I'm excited to be back on the show.
Yeah. Hasn't been a long time for me because we're brothers and we see each other, once in a while. But a long time for our listeners. Just to clarify, I've seen my brother since the last time he was on the show.
It has been less often, though, due to everything, but yes.
Yep. I
Absolutely.
still see you both. I think I saw you both this week.
I don't think...
Well, not this week.
Maybe
It's
you must have
Monday,
done it
but
separately because I don't think I've seen Rick.
last week I think I saw you both.
Interesting.
Yeah, times
So-
are weird.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it is. Nobody really knows what time they are.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like half the time. I don't know what day it is. You just wake up. You're like, I'm gonna walk over to my workstation over here.
I saw you last week. That was 2 months ago. All right.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
That might be true.
Very true. Yeah, there's some people, like you, for the most part, that left work and have not been back in 6 months now.
There's a fun fact about that, which is I went on a cruise, as probably the viewers are aware at this point.
Yeah. Well, they're listeners.
Yeah, listeners, sorry.
If they're viewing, it's a really boring show to watch.
But, yeah, we went on a cruise in March, and I left for work, and I said, I'll see you in 10 days. And that 10 days has turned into more like 10 months, because I found out I'm working it from home till about January. So.
Yeah, I went over to Rick's house and he's scratching each day into the wall, so it's kind of like like he's imprisoned on like some island somewhere.
It really feels like I'm doing time.
Full on Castaway style.
That's right.
You need to get like a little Wilson for your desk.
There you go. That'd be funny.
I have those. They're my children.
Yeah. And he enjoys yelling at them just like Tom Hanks. I just watched Castaway not that long ago.
It's such a good movie.
Like within the last week probably, and that movie holds up.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
real good.
Any one of like Tom Hanks's classic or even not classic
Any
movies,
Tom Hanks movie.
like the one the airplane one where he's like the cop chasing down Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Such a
real
good
Yeah,
movie.
that was great.
I can't even think of a Tom Hanks movie I don't love.
No.
I love Tom Hanks.
Apollo 13. I mean, get out of here. It's one of the best movies.
One of the
Yep.
best.
Very
good.
So Tom Hanks, one of my all-time favorites. I think Tom Hanks is one of almost everybody's all-time favorite actors.
Yep.
It's hard to beat.
Who would be up there with Tom Hanks for you guys?
I mean, for me, I love Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean, like everything he does is just he's such a talented actor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I've heard the reference from the prior generation, which is Jimmy Stewart, is very similar to a Tom Hanks.
Okay.
You
A beloved man.
Before our time, he was the Tom Hanks of like the 30s to 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart, not a great actor.
True. I would have to say it's kind of hard to narrow down actors for me because, like, obviously, like Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, like some of those are like Tom Cruise. Those are great actors for like their skill level. I like a lot of comedies and stuff, so like your Will Ferrells and like David Spade. Like they're not the greatest actors. They just go out there.
I
and
do
have,
love
like,
David Spade.
They just have a ton of fun.
You're an Owen Wilson fan?
I like Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson's
actually.
good.
I do,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't put them as like the best actors out there in their craft. They're
Yeah.
just funny and like enjoyable
Well,
to watch.
beloved. I think we're talking about beloved. And for me, I think right up there with Tom Hanks for me has got to be Vince Vaughn. Because there's never a Vince Vaughn movie that I do not love. I mean, he plays the exact same character in
Every
every
time.
single movie,
Yep.
but I love it. It's because I think it's just who he is as
And
a
Owen
person.
Wilson was in that movie with him.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter which one
almost
you're talking about.
assuredly.
Yeah.
And in probably my number 2 is Paul Rudd, because
Okay.
who does not love Paul
All right.
Rudd?
Paul Rudd,
He's got
Ant-Man,
kind
right?
eyes.
He's Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I really like Iron Man, whatever his name is.
Robert
Downey
Jr.?
Jr.
Really?
I love his acting. He's great.
So Hattie likes the actors that come with a little bit of a little backstory, a little come from behind.
Oh yeah.
Who
Who
doesn't
doesn't like a little redemption story?
Little Joe Pesci.
Oh, he's such a good. He's
What
such a
was
good
that?
actor.
A height joke there, Rick? A little Joe Pesci? Come on now. I think it's 2020. I think we can get over the physical stereotypes that
I'm just
bind
glad
him.
he's not here to hear it.
That's right. Did you know that he did not want to be an actor, Joe Pesci, and that his father kind of forced him into it because they grew up so poor, and he wanted him to not have any kind of life like what he had growing up.
Really?
And so they forced him into acting, and really what he wanted to do his whole life was be a singer. And there's actually a couple. he actually did a couple of albums with some like doo-wop bands and stuff.
I really would love to see a clip of Joe Pesci singing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it. So the roles you see him play.
Oh yeah.
just
like what is it?
He's so good
In Goodfellas, when he's
Goodfellas?
like, "Oh, I make you laugh. What am I, a clown?" You know, it's like, I've messed up. So
I have to say the one actor that I really wish there was more of is Chris Farley, because
That is
obviously his
100%
career like
naturally,
got
naturally.
cut so short.
Yep.
But any movie that you watch of
He's
him,
so
you
good.
can't help but like smile and laugh. Like what he did was, it especially like in his realm of movie and the comedy. And in the comedy realm, like a lot of these actors are not great actors, but he lit up the screen, even in the comedy realm, every time he was on it. It was hilarious.
But would Chris Farley have held up for the long run if he had stayed alive, or would he have fizzled out a little bit?
I think he'd probably do like, an Adam Sandler, where he was great, and then that's very much hit or miss like later in his career, because you only can be funny, you only can do the same thing for so long,
right. Yeah, I think he would have followed a David Spade, Adam Sandler, Kevin James type trajectory. I mean, more than Kevin James, because Kevin James did a lot of, But
and Sandler's another great name to throw in there because I don't care. He gets so much crap for his movies he makes, but I love Adam Sandler.
I love him.
Yeah, like Grown Ups 1 and Grown Ups 2. I die laughing every time.
Every time.
Those are the funniest movies, and like the Adam Sandler song. If the people listening have not heard the Adam Sandler song of the tribute to Chris Farley, you gotta listen.
Real
I mean,
good.
it's a tearjerker, and in it he mentions he wishes he could have him on the set of filming Grown Ups 3 or whatever.
Imagine a Grown Ups 3 with Chris Farley.
It would have been amazing.
Well, if you have
so
Farley
good.
in there, you probably don't have Kevin James, but.
You know what?
I think you could throw them all in there.
But here's the thing I think that we're really truly missing is a life story of Chris Farley, like a major motion picture life story of Chris Farley.
Who would play Chris Farley?
Because the rise. Ooh, that is a good question.
You had to pick somebody.
It had to be an unknown.
Yeah, an unknown.
It had to be an unknown.
A good lookalike.
Yep.
Yeah,
Somebody that Sandler and Spade, the guys that knew him really well, would have to be, right
who
there.
I think would be good if he could pull it off. The acting is the Belushi that's still alive, Jim Belushi, still alive.
No,
I think he could do it.
Too old.
no, yeah,
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
You think he is?
He's probably at least 20 years older.
I mean,
Farley.
John Belushi was making Animal House back in like the late 70s,
Right.
early 80s. So
But that'd be an awesome connection because his father did know Chris.
yeah. I mean, I would. John Belushi was a big,
Blues Brothers.
Well, he was a role model or an idol of Chris Farley.
Yes.
And John Candy.
That's not a good one.
The
John
fat
Candy's
funny
another good
guys.
Fat funny guys. I can relate. I like these guys.
Oh, of course, me too.
Chevy Chase.
Oh, yeah, Chevy
Also
Chase is
a
good.
classic.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that just plays a specific part.
Oh, yes.
You're not getting a whole lot of range out of Chevy Chase.
No.
No.
He's playing that one role.
Yeah.
He's your Vince Vaughn
Yep.
of the 70s and 80s.
But I prefer Vince Vaughn.
But there's a couple actors
Yeah.
that are like they're playing themselves.
Yeah.
Like Robert Downey Jr. is one of them.
Yeah. All right.
They're like, this guy's playing the character he always plays.
That's true. We probably ought to get into news here because we are spinning tales here about Farley.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah. So you know how I usually turn the fan down on the AC?
Yeah.
'Cause, I blast it before you get here.
Mm-hmm.
But today's just feeling a little extra warm.
You think so?
Yeah, don't you think, Pat? Don't you think it's a little extra warm?
I'm a little sweaty.
I mean, I'm a little sweaty, too. I'm going to get a little warm. I mean, I got to take my shirt off here.
What is going on here? What is going on here? Oh, my God. You guys are so out of control.
Oh, look at that!
What did you guys spend on these? Okay, so let me recap for you for what just happened here. My brother and Hattie, who neither of whom have ever gone on a real camping trip, just pulled off their overshirts to reveal that they are wearing matching. What are you? Mint green, I would call these.
Yeah, fair.
Mint
Yeah,
green
fair.
Patagonia shirts. I have been teased on the podcast for my rip-off Patagonia hat that I got from
You are
Tractor
currently
Supply.
wearing.
Yeah, you are
currently
currently
I
wearing
like
it.
the back of my shirt.
I mean, look
It
at the
does.
back of my shirt.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit impressed that this happened without my knowing, and I'm interested to hear how this went about. But yeah, so matching mint green Patagonia shirts, I do love them, by the way. They look very nice.
Yeah.
And so what those set you guys back?
Well,
They were on sale.
they were on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the sale price?
Only $179.99 each.
Okay, that checks out.
I think they were like $26.
Yeah, okay,
They
that's
weren't
not
too
bad.
bad.
What was the non-sale price? Like $50?
Like 35, I believe.
Okay.
They actually weren't like.
I mean, it
as
is only
bad
a
as you thought.
T-shirt, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty nice quality T-shirt.
Yeah.
Saves. Did you read the tag in the back that says it was like 27 recycled plastic bottles?
Yeah, I mean,
and blah, blah,
it's
blah,
That's why
whatever.
we do it. That's why we do it.
Yeah, you guys really care about the environment and also, camping brands.
Right, and
So-
nature and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when exactly did this transpire? Because I mean, I'm very curious
So,
to know this.
We were in a store.
You guys were out shopping together like a couple of girls.
No,
This is the Grown Man's Night podcast, not Aunt Maud's sewing circle.
We decided to get some dinner recently,
Okay.
and we had to wait for the table. So to kill some time, we just ran to the store with the wives, and we were just perusing. And Hattie saw the shirt, and I said, "Well, now,
You guys are out of
we
control.
could do something pretty fun with this."
Like we should buy matching shirts, just to tease T-Bone.
Yeah. When you guys we were like, it's kind of hot in here. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not that hot in here. And you're like, oh, I mean, I'm sweating. I start seeing you guys working your shirts. I'm like, oh, God, something bad's about to happen here. I'm in the corner over here. I can't escape. I don't know what's about to happen.
Now, it's true I haven't been on the podcast in a while, but this is the true reason that we
I
decided.
assumed.
Yeah.
I kind
the reason.
of came to that conclusion.
Just now?
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh,
So
Lord.
anyway, there you have it.
Oh, well, very nice.
I know you're jealous.
It was a nice long con. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I told him yesterday. I'm like, hey, by the way, your big bro's coming on the podcast, like nonchalantly. So, oh, cool, he's coming on. I'm like, yeah, that's sweet.
I was like, oh, yeah, whatever.
I didn't even ask how did you get Tommy to, what'd you say to him about me coming on the podcast or anything? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what do you gotta say? What? It's not gonna need a backstory. I'm gonna be like, what? That's out of
Somebody had to follow the New York Jets scout last week, and
That's true.
I'm falling on that sword.
I'm telling you guys are doing a pretty good job with this little routine. We'll have to get pictures for the Instagram page and Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. And
Which is what? Where can they check that out?
that's a good call. Rick on top of things over here. So, yeah, if you guys want to be a couple of grown men yourself, you can go over to Twitter at Grown Man's Pod or Instagram at Grown Man's Podcast. And if you want to be a supporter of the show, be a grown man, you can go over to patreon.com/grownmanspodcast. And a buck or two a month goes a long way to help out the show. We do appreciate those who are already supporting. That would be Darlene, Gus, Barry, and Wes. Thank you guys so much. And so now, I mean, do you guys have like underwear that you need to take your pants off for before you get
This is
move
a
on to the
long
news?
show. You gotta wait.
All right. Stick
we're
around for the
getting
show after
there.
the show,
Wait
guys.
until you see our socks a little bit later.
Patreon exclusive.
Oh Lord. So yeah, let's move it along to the NFL news. NFL news. All right, so I don't have the most stuff tonight, as I usually do. So
right.
I'll tell you what, Rick, you're the guest here. Why don't you start us off there, bud?
All right. Well, if I get to start, I start off with some Tom Brady hate because that's what I feel most in my heart, and so I'm going to lead off with this. Spotted in the news by the paparazzi. That's what I'm assuming. Okay. I don't know that it's actually paparazzi, but spotted in the news this week. Tom Brady sporting an iPhone 6 for his personal cell phone. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I have to say that's pretty popular with famous people because they don't keep the same number for very long, so they swap out phones pretty quickly. I'm assuming that iPhone 6 is not his main phone, and that's just a quick burner.
You think he uses the iPhone 6 as a burner?
Probably.
Yeah, that might be it.
I mean that is much more on brand than Tom Brady just using an iPhone 6 as his actual phone. But I mean, you think about it. Tom Brady doesn't need to take good quality pictures with his phone because he probably goes everywhere with a photographer. And Tom Brady isn't answering his own phone calls and doing his own, scheduling because he goes everywhere with an assistant.
Why does Tom Brady even have a phone? Can you even think of a reason why?
So that he can call ball boys in Massachusetts and let them know, hey, you need to make yourself scarce around here.
Not Massachusetts, down in Tampa Bay.
Well, Tampa Bay now, but that's usually why he used to have the phone.
Everyone needs a little internet in the pocket device.
And let's be honest, he's got a supermodel for a wife. He wants to stay in contact with her.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than
An iPhone 6?
Yeah. I mean, it's still better than a Samsung.
That's true. The sound quality is probably still better.
And the camera.
boy.
But yeah, I do actually find it strange. I mean, because even if they're switching their phone number regularly because they're famous, you'd think they would just have the most common or most recent phone and then just switch the phone number.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but you know what? Tom Brady is a guy who only cares about football and owning the best phone. What does he care?
Are you looking, at the end of the day. Are you supporting Tom Brady at the end of this news update?
No, I'm not. Listen, my hatred for Tom Brady has waned the worse he has gotten as he has aged. Because he's no longer doing it just to be a jerk. I mean, the only reason he could be doing it at this point is because he wants to, because he loves it, because he's not a great quarterback anymore, so he ain't rubbing it in anybody's face that he's great. He's just doing it because he still can and he wants to.
So if Tom Brady goes and succeeds in Tampa Bay...
Which he will.
No, I will not be supporting him. let's be clear. I just know that he won't.
I mean, if Tampa Bay wins like 14 games this year, what's an old Jets fan care about that?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I don't know. It's a mixed bag this year because
for me it's a win-win because if the Patriots do awful, right? It's because Tom Brady,
right? It means there. Belichick wasn't the greatest coach ever,
exactly. And if they do great, then it just means Tom Brady was some system quarterback,
right?
And you can plug anybody in there, including Cam Newton,
right? And if they both do great this year, then I guess we're gonna have to go jump off a bridge or something. I don't have any idea. I haven't even ran through that nightmare scenario in my head yet.
I didn't think about that option.
Yeah, and it is a very real option. Although as we'll get to, half the team isn't even showing up for the Patriots, so
that is true.
I don't think we really have to worry that much about it. What do you got, Eddie?
My first one is Jordan Reed, the off-injured but very talented tight end, has signed a 1-year deal with the 49ers.
The deal.
Deal.
And you also hit us with an oft-injured Eddie. Did that Patagonia shirt come with a new vocabulary?
He is off-injured.
He is oft-injured. Yes, that is accurate in proper grammar. I'm just surprised to hear you use it.
Well, I had to pull out the Patagonia shirt today.
I guess so.
Got to step my game up.
All right.
Yeah, the $26, real bargain when you get a whole new vocabulary.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So my first item up here, Tua Tagovailoa has passed his physical. New quarterback for the Dolphins. Came in obviously with some injury concerns, but looks like he's going to be starting training camp, not on the PUP list or unable to perform. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm really excited for Tua, to be perfectly honest. Even though he plays for the Dolphins, who's a rival of the Jets, I have big hopes for Tua. I think that he's great, and I think he's really exciting to watch. And even though he's going to be playing against us twice a year, I'm very, very excited to see it. I think he's going to be a phenom and, kind of like the Lamar Jackson kind of situation on the field. Kind of high energy, hard to contain kind of player.
I hope not.
Yeah, but you know what? I just love good football.
All right. All right, so how many minutes are we into the podcast now, and then we're deciding to now talk about coronavirus? That's not bad. In this day and age, that's not bad.
We did touch on the cruise.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, we didn't really say anything about the coronavirus. Just said a cruise.
But it is big news in the NFL this week because
huge news.
Opt-out option ends Wednesday, I believe. They've moved the date to Wednesday.
That's what they're shooting for.
Because the NFL's afraid that everybody's going to opt out.
Yep.
Because so far, 44 players have, at least as of when I checked earlier today. So 44 players are out. Doug Peterson has tested positive for coronavirus, second head coach in the NFL to do so. And it's a big problem, for what the season's looking like. Because I think right now people are still unsure. I think we'll see a lot as this week progresses, to see how many more players decide to opt out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I mean, as of right now, there's been several players that have made it onto the COVID-19 / inactive list, whatever they're calling it, where either they've been exposed to somebody with COVID or they have tested positive themselves. A big one, Damian Williams, running back for the Chiefs, tested, he opted. You know what?
He's opted out.
He opted out. Yeah. And so Clyde Edwards-Helaire, taking over the lead running back role there. So that, I mean, these opt-outs and these, kind of.
Oh, they're going to have a big.
It's going to have a huge impact on the outline of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 44 players is a pretty significant number, even though each team has over 100. And I know they expanded the rosters a little bit, at least for right now. Like the cuts are less, so they can get guys prepared and everything for the preseason and the season that's coming up, if there is a preseason. But right now there is.
There's not going to be. No preseason.
Cut. No, it isn't.
That's been
official?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
We
discussed it on the podcast.
They canceled preseason.
Yeah.
All right, that's over.
And rosters are actually down to 80 people.
To 80, yep.
So I think they're going to have to do some kind of concession though, where they allow the active roster to be more than what it normally is, because
maybe.
And I think they will.
I hope they.
I mean, they already made the COVID / whatever list that they have that you can put a player on there if they get it, so you can get another player on your team. So, I mean, I think that's pretty sufficient. If you have 3 players, you can put them on that list, and you can get 3 other players off your practice squad or free agency. So
I had this idea this week that I put out there on Twitter. That I think that they should consider doing something along the lines of, like, where if there's so many games that end up having to be canceled because of coronavirus, that it becomes an issue as far as how long the season's going to be and, how they figure out the playoff situation and stuff. I think a really good option for that would be that they do playoffs based off of a team's best 14-game season. So even if a team plays 16 games, the best 16 games or the best 14 games that they play out of that, or if a team maybe only plays 13 games during the season, they'll have the ability to make it up on their bye week or the week after the regular season ends, so they can get there. So that way it's a lot easier for teams, because, I mean, what if a team misses 3 games? They're not going to have the time to make that up between, the regular season and playoffs.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a shorter season anyway. I don't think they're going to play the full 16 games.
I think they are.
They're going to have
they
to
have
do
a lot of
something
deals. I think it gets canceled or put on hiatus before they do a cancellation of games. Like, they might do like 10 games, and there might be an outbreak.
We're going to have canceled games,
and then they're going to extend it.
That's just real. I mean, there's going to be canceled games throughout the year.
So you think teams are not going to play 16, or you think they're going to cancel like a week and then like continue?
I mean, not for the whole league. They're not going to. I mean, but there's going to be teams that aren't able to field a roster because, they have an outbreak of coronavirus.
Right.
I mean,
but then they'll make it up later.
Well,
that's the thing is, when do you make it? If you go based on a 14-game season, for a playoff picture anyway, then you don't have to worry about making those games up.
Yeah, I guess. I know that they're talking about...
They've got to do something
Their
different.
training camps and stuff this summer, and the team's talking about doing extra scrimmages because there's no preseason going to be. But at some point, they have to start playing full contact football. They can't just do walkthroughs forever. And when they have 20 guys start piling on each other here at some point, we're going to have to see what that means for the NFL.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just an interesting thought that I had. All right. Pat, what do you got next?
Well, I think the only other piece of that is we want to talk a little bit about Odell Beckham Jr. This week. He says there should be no NFL season at all. What do you guys think about that? I know exactly what you think about that.
Oh, what? Do you?
We want an NFL season.
Yeah, NFL's going to happen. There's a lot of money, and sure, you play a contact sport, but there's many other people that have to go to work even in this situation. Just because you're a football player and you think that you can get through a year without making any money, doesn't make you any more special than anybody else. If everyone else has to go back to work, so do you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There are people in the NFL that a lot of the people that are opting out have good reasons to. They got a spouse that has cancer, and they're highly susceptible to dying from the virus, or they have, or players that have had cancer. There's reasons, and I'm not knocking any players that have opted out because, you know what? If you don't feel comfortable putting your life on the line, you don't have to go to work. I mean, it's the same thing in any other job. If you didn't feel comfortable going back to your job and your job is forcing you to, you could quit, or and there's a concession in this sport, obviously, to opt out and come back next year.
And just to clarify, he has not opted out.
Okay. Yeah,
he's OBJ's still playing.
Oh yeah,
so he doesn't think there should be an NFL season, but he's still going to play.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the funny part. It's like if you really don't want to play, then opt out. You have that option, right. But he doesn't want to do that because he can make more money by playing. Yeah. If they cancel the season, I think there's something in with the NFL Players Association that they make more if they were to cancel it. So that throws another little wrinkle in there. Like if you are concerned, just opt out.
Right. Yeah. That's it, and that's why that concession's there, so that if you have any issues, you can't blame it on the NFL because you had the option to opt out, right? Well, one of our Patreon supporters, West, sent me a thing on Twitter earlier. News headline said Odell Beckham Jr. said NFL should cancel season. Owners don't see us as human. He asked for my thoughts. My thoughts were that personally, I think the owners see the players as employees. Because that's exactly what they are.
That's what they are.
That is what they are.
You're not some ambassador to the world, and you're not some highly. You're just another person. You're an employee that works for an employer, and that's what it is. And your employer has very generously said, we will still allow you to have some money this season if you decide that it's not safe enough for you to come to work. So if you don't want to come to work for this year, that's fine. You can come back next year. I think that's better than most people get treated by their employer.
You think Amazon employees get that option to like opt out and still make some money and like stay home?
Do you think 7-Eleven employees do? No, they just have to go to work.
A lot of companies have done similar things that are nice for their employees, but those things are starting to come to an end.
Right.
And now the NFL is saying, well, even though those things are coming to an end and we could just be in line with everybody else, we're going to still offer this. And that's right. I think that's good.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's putting the onus on the players. They're saying, listen, if you feel uncomfortable with it, you don't have to come. If you do, we don't want to hear about it. That's it. Come if you want to. Don't come if you don't want to. But shut up about it, essentially. And that's personally where I stand, is just shut up about it. If you don't want to come to work, you don't have to. They're not making you. So don't talk about it.
Yeah, and the biggest players that complain are the players that have made tons of money throughout their career, too. Like, they don't need to work a year or two.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine.
Or ever again.
They don't like need to work ever again.
Right.
Whereas, like, people who work for 7-Eleven or even the Amazon, like, depending on what you do there, like, you need to work. Like, you can't take a year off and be fine.
You don't think the roller dogs have set them up for life?
I don't think they have.
Down at 7-Eleven?
Odell Beckham's being an obnoxious loudmouth. What a shocker. I don't think he needed coronavirus for this to be a problem where he's annoying people with his headlines.
The goalpost probably told him a little secret and whispered in his ear while he was tackling it over.
If it was like somebody that was always a good sport about, everything associated with football, that would be maybe a different story. I'd maybe have a different feeling opinion about it. But it's Odell Beckham. He's one of the most obnoxious players in the NFL.
Agreed.
Getting into fights with players on the field and stuff and just being a tool. So
anyway, that's all I had.
Yeah. All right. What do you got?
All right. What I got is Jets have cut Quincy Enunwa. One of your... He was probably like the third wide receiver, second wide receiver.
He was kind of our number one when he was healthy.
He's been injured for on and off for a couple of years now. It seems like.
Would you say he was like off injured?
He is oft injured.
He is oft injured, but he was very good. He would have been
like a 2 or 3. I think Denzel Mims is ideally going to be the one on that team. Jamison Crowder is probably currently the one.
That's probably why they cut him, is because they drafted Denzel Mims. He's going to be cheaper. He's a rookie, and
this is not the year to be. But he's not going to be playing because he's still got a neck injury, so that's why they cut him. They cut him because he's not going to be playing, and so they can get him off the team. But you got Denzel Mims, you got Jamison Crowder. They just picked up, who was it? Bellamy, Josh Bellamy.
Yeah, they had Bellamy. Yeah,
they had Bellamy. Who did they pick up from Tampa Bay? I want to say. I can't think of his name.
I don't know.
Brashad Perryman.
Yeah. And Perryman really should be in that. Yeah, he'll be in that two-ish.
It depends. If he's playing like he was at the end of the year last year, he could be an absolute baller. But if he's going to play like he has the rest of his career, it's going to be 2 or 3.
Well, I mean, in typical Jets fashion, we have almost no talent around.
Although
Darnold,
we do have our wide receiver back. So Darnold likes his wide receivers. So, in non-football related news, Rick grabbed a sour beer here.
And, a local sour beer, of which brewery will be nameless because it's not a sponsor.
Yeah, you got to pay us for that stuff.
But it could be.
They could be. But they don't know who they are.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
It's a Finger Lakes brewery. I'll give them that.
All right. So all Finger Lakes breweries.
Yeah, they're all getting some
So now hold on. Before you take your first sip of this, Rick, before we started recording, Hattie offered us one of these disgusting sour beers that we also tried 2 weeks ago with James on the podcast.
I typically don't like sour beer, but you know what? I'm going to give it a try.
And what did Hattie tell you about that one?
It's extra sour.
Extra sour. What could possibly go wrong? Now, you did say that you will drink it if you opened it, and you've opened it.
So you gotta finish that can now.
All right. I'm a grown man, so I can finish it.
All right, let's see it. So
that
take
one's
a sip.
real good, though.
Take a swig scare off it.
Oh man,
that's so bad.
That's cold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that fridge is real cold. I gotta say.
You know what? It tastes kind of like a warhead. It's like that sour.
So gross.
That one is extra sour.
And also, I would argue
terrible.
I love that.
And also, I would argue not a beer. It's pink and it doesn't taste hot.
Does it even claim to be a beer? It does not. Sour wheat ale brewed with berries.
An ale is
Yeah, it's a beer.
Pretty commonly referred to as a beer.
I mean,
I guess.
it's purple.
Well, it says beer story on the back
Now
side.
there you
now
go.
they know who they are.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, you gotta do some detective work. If
I
you're gonna
guess so.
actually know
They're
who that
probably
is.
listening.
So, Rick, you hate sours. Your first words were...
Hey, I told you.
Oh, boy.
So I'm drinking another one, and I was like, I
So
think you'll
bad.
like this one more because that one is extra sour. But this is the last one, so
Yeah. And we can't share drinks. It's
can't
2020.
share drinks. 2020.
Yeah. So, and also, if you guys notice a little audio change there, we did do a quick little adjustment of the mic, so that's why
Yep.
that happened.
Yeah, whenever you get a third person on, it introduces issues.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a
Don't you?
low talker in general.
Yep.
And then, when you're dealing with the audio things for a low talker, you just gotta play with it a little bit.
Yep.
And we were too focused on the sour beer.
Yep. So,
That's for sure.
anyway, so you gave that news story of Anunwa.
Yep.
And also the Jets, while we're talking about Jets players, they also released guard Brian Winters,
Saw
who
that.
had been a starter for the Jets for, I think, the last 6 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
And a division rival
Not-
went in and snatched
Yeah,
him
not
up.
not a great player. I mean, he was not
He's okay.
I mean, he wasn't great.
He was okay for a Jets
He-
offensive lineman.
well.
He's
that
depth
is true.
guy.
Yeah, he's a depth
He's a
guy.
depth
He could come in with an injury or COVID situation. The Bills signed him. I
He's
guess
probably gonna be awesome now.
I guess I
awesome.
would have rather the Jets kept him.
Going to the Pro Bowl for sure.
I
Mark
guess,
it down.
He's been dealing with injuries. He's supposedly healthy right now. I wish the Jets kind of kept him as a depth player, even if they didn't plan on starting him. But it is what it is.
It's a weird year. I mean,
It
depth.
is.
I mean, what are you gonna do? You gotta have some depth, but they don't have it.
Yep. My last news item here. Chargers head coach came out and said that Tyrod Taylor is the presumptive Week 1 starter. Kind of roll my eyes when I hear that because, of course, that's what they always say this time of year. I think that's probably going to actually be the case. They got Herbert in the draft. Herbert's pretty rough around the edges. Tyrod Taylor's no world beater, but he's at least got a lot of NFL experience. He's got some experience in that system. I think he was there last year.
I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
He's not bad. He's just not good.
If you look at his career in the sum of the parts,
He's better than Mitchell Trubisky.
he's a winning quarterback.
yeah.
Whatever you want to say on the teams that he was on and everything, but if you really look at his stats and his winning percentage, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean,
it just is.
Fun fact: Tyrod Taylor had a 120.1 rating last season.
how many games did he
3
play?
passes.
He had 33 yards and a touchdown. So
I take back my comment about him not being a world beater.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's fine. He was on the Browns and he ended up getting benched in favor of Baker Mayfield, and then they ended up playing well. So he wasn't better than Baker Mayfield his rookie season.
That's another thing we need to do is we need to go through the 2 to 3 year quarterback sometime on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like Baker Mayfield, the
Darnold
Darnolds, the Josh Allens, and just
Lamar Jackson.
see where we put him. Throw a little
I'm
couple
good with that.
stats and stuff.
There've been
in
a
there,
lot of big prospects coming out here the
That'd be
last
interesting.
3 years,
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
And there's another one in there, Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, okay.
I know you didn't mention him.
Yeah.
That's going to be quick. He's not that great.
Has his-
and moving on.
Has his head inflated from Myles Garrett bashing into his own helmet yet? I don't know if it has. So that's the last news item I have. Do you have anything else?
I do. You're all out as well, Patrick, right?
Yeah, I'm all good.
All right, so I'll rapid fire these. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has purchased the XFL.
Yeah.
Maybe bringing it back. $15 million for.
Hey, I think that's
Mr.
a good
Johnson
deal.
There.
I couldn't believe when I saw that it was only $15 million to buy the entire league.
I mean, it's
I
a
mean-
defunct league, so.
It is, but I mean, he has connections with the WWE
Yeah.
wrestlers and
Vince
stuff, which
McMahon
was
owned it.
what the first thing of the XFL was it was getting wrestlers, and it was less rules.
If anyone
and,
can save
stuff.
it, it's The Rock.
Oh, you put
Can you
his name.
smell what the XFL is cooking?
You get a couple retired guys and you rotate some classics in there with his name. I mean, he'll make his 15
He
million
hasn't
back,
done
I guarantee
anything
it.
that failed in the last 15 years.
No,
everything
it's not
does
going to
great.
fail.
I don't know. I'll bet you could find a couple of movies he's done that were not. I don't know if I don't know if I'd throw out that banner.
No.
He has not done
I
anything
think
that's
he's
failed.
made money on him. I mean, it might not have been a commercial success,
No,
but he made money.
You got to go and you got to look at the Nickelodeon Choice Awards. That's where the guy has been making all the
He's
success.
been killing it there.
Killing it. You have no idea. Him and John Cena both.
I mean, 35 Fast and Furious movies. He made no money on those. knows?
Yeah, right.
If you guys are looking for a funny thing to watch that's like 5 minutes long, look up John Cena prank call video on YouTube.
I've seen it.
I think
Great.
it's so funny. Anyway, that was just a
but
little
the next
aside.
one is another team went on the list of no fans in the stands. The Las Vegas Raiders will not have any fans.
It's going to be a
Stands are
league-wide
closed
thing.
off.
Yeah, that's going to be everybody.
It's not happening.
If it does, Hattie has to eat a full slice of toast with a bunch of Marmite. or Vegemite on it. Because he says that some teams will be allowed to have fans and some teams won't. So
Well, there are fan bases where they were socially distancing prior to COVID in the stadiums as it was.
Huh?
Come on, Houston Texans.
I'm just saying,
stadiums.
if you look like a late season Bengals game, they were more than 6 feet apart throughout the entire stand.
that's true. That's true. But the NFL's not going to allow
definitely not.
From a health standard or from a unfair advantage standpoint of having a home field advantage. It's not going to happen.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So the last one I have is Antonio Brown, who's a free agent, is suspended for the first 8 games.
A
by
retired
the NFL.
free agent.
So if he does happen to get signed by a team, which is rumored that the Ravens and the Seahawks are both looking at him,
Good Lord.
to sign him, he'll be unavailable for the first 8 games.
And I did see online, I didn't verify it by a league source, but that the suspension will be effective week 1, whether he's on a team or not. I don't know if that's for sure accurate, but that's what I did see.
Which is just weird.
It is weird, but his situation's weird. But I will say about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens trying to get Antonio Brown on the team. Lamar Jackson's really going on a ledge here, saying that that Antonio Brown's the kind of guy that you want to have in your locker room, and he's the kind of guy that's going to make a team be a team. And that could not be further from the truth. Antonio Brown will wreck every locker room that he goes into. He destroys everything. in his
But he
path.
will draw defenders in the secondary so Lamar Jackson can run all over the field.
I mean, yeah, sure.
The whole building will be burning down around him. It doesn't matter.
As a Packers fan, I hope they kind of get him.
I do too,
like,
because I want to see that.
I hope they just
wreckage
put him out there and be like, we're not going to throw you the ball, but take 2 defenders wherever you go.
If the Jets signed him today, where would you be with that?
I'd be face palming so hard because there's no way that it's not going to end horribly. There's just no way.
It ended horribly the last year. Before that, it ended okay.
Not.
Like, when he was a Steeler, it
ended
he was
well
a
when
Pro
he was a Steeler.
I mean, his career as a Steeler
he
was
talked
fine.
crap about Ben Roethlisberger. He talked crap about the organization.
He
talked
end.
crap about the players and taunted Juju Smith-Schuster on Twitter.
You got a lot of production out of him, though.
Okay. Before he started self-imploding, he didn't even show up to the last game of the year when the playoffs were on the line. And then he goes to Oakland where it was a complete crap show.
That's true.
And he completely burned everybody there. And then he goes
Don't
to
forget
New
about
England.
his game with the Patriots.
And then he goes to the Patriots. And he starts talking, he gets kicked off there after he goes and rapes a couple girls or whatever he did. And then he's, talking crap about
Him
Robert
and Tom
Kraft.
Brady are close. He hits up that iPhone 6 every now and then just to catch up with him.
I don't know.
Hits him up on
Antonio
AOL
Brown
Instant
might
Messenger.
have like an iPhone 5.
Yeah.
Little iPhone 5 SE.
No, the C. The C. It's pink.
Oh, it's color one, yeah.
Oh, he's got like the pink.
He's got the banana
pink
yellow.
one. I think it was called Coral.
Oh, was it?
okay.
Okay.
It's in the line of our Patagonia.
It is
That's for
very
sure.
on
Like,
brand.
Mine looks kind of darker than yours.
It does.
Well, your skin's
Might be the light.
darker.
Mine's bigger.
Yeah, that's true. Yours is blocking out more of the overhead light, Rick. Anyway, so
How are you enjoying that sour beer?
I just want to let the listeners know that I'm a grown man and I finished that sour beer.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
like
a
a
grown
grown
man
man.
thing to do.
And it was good, wasn't it? You liked it. You enjoyed it.
No, it tasted like I was drinking a Warhead the whole time, but
Well, I mean, you like sour warheads, don't you?
I drank it.
All right.
Like I said I would. I'm a man of my word.
All right, I respect that. All right, you got anything else?
That is all the news for me.
All right, so let's move it along to our recap of the AFC North. All right, so let's get into the AFC North, and so without any further ado, we're going to try and move this along here. So we got some good stuff coming up after this segment that I just know it's going to take up a lot of time.
Oh, of course. Well, it naturally does when Rick's on.
Right. So you guys will enjoy that. So you'll appreciate us zipping through this. You can hit us up on Twitter and complain if you don't think we spend enough time on it.
Yep. So I knew this, but just writing PP for your initials for the first time was kind of fun.
And mine's TP.
And yours is TP.
Yeah.
PP and TP.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
That was the
Like,
first.
I was
That's
like,
the first time we ever heard that.
I was like BH TP and PP.
And if people knew what our last name was, they'd know, that we also had to deal with, a bunch of stupid jokes about that growing up. But we're not going to put it out there.
You probably had at some point.
I value my privacy.
Yes. All right.
So Rick,
where do we start?
Why don't we start off with who you think, Pat, is going to be the fourth place team in the AFC North?
Oh, lasty place.
Last place in the NFC North.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, going on a limb here, gentlemen. The Steelers.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I can see it.
And I'll get into more of the reasoning why when we start talking about, obviously, the Browns and Bengals. Mm-hmm. But for me this year, the Steelers, I think, are going to maybe have a little bit of a stale season where I think we're going to see a little bit of fire coming from some of those lower-ranking teams from last year.
You know what? I could totally see it, and you can get into it now if you want. No need to wait. I can totally see it. I mean, you got Ben Roethlisberger coming back, and I also have. Well, I guess I don't have him there, but I can totally see it. Ben Roethlisberger, he's old. He's coming off of an injured year where he did not play. A lot of kind of churning going on the roster there. Juju Smith-Schuster, not necessarily the wide receiver where he thought he was.
And for me, it's just. There's a lot to be excited about with the Browns. I know that there's a lot of talk around it, but I'm excited about the Browns still, especially after having a little bit of a disappointing start with that team they had. I think that they're going to rebound real nice this year.
All right. We'll get into that.
So actually, we recorded this section last week, but with everything that we had, we didn't have enough time. We were going to add it into this week.
Yep.
But since we had a visitor on this week, we decided just to re-record it because you want the commentary of everybody that's on the podcast.
Of course.
They want to know what I have to think.
Yeah.
That's why they're tuning in.
And I actually kind of had the same, when we recorded it last time, I had the Steelers in third place.
Yep.
But
I do too.
But I did talk about Ben Roethlisberger. I think they could have a good season with Ben. If he comes back and he's 90% of the player he used to be, they could have a good team. But I could totally see Ben Roethlisberger being done at this point in his career. He's
I think so.
40% of the player he was.
Yeah.
And I can totally see the scenario that Pat laid out for us here. So what rating or not rating?
I had him at 8-8.
8-8.
Oh, you
bottom,
think 8-8 bottom of the barrel?
I think this might be the division to beat in the AFC this year.
It's a very solid division.
Very solid.
All right.
Very solid division.
All right.
I have the Bengals in last place. And I have them there 6-10. They got a lot of buzz going on around them. Obviously, they drafted first overall. They got Joe Burrow. They got AJ Green coming back off an injury. They got Joe Mixon. They got a lot of pieces there. I can't. And I do a football podcast where I pride myself on knowing these things. I can't tell you the name of the head coach there in Cincinnati. Can either of you guys?
No. But here's the thing.
He's the only coach I can't name in the NFL. I want to say he's a nobody because
it was
for the longest time it was not Lovey.
It's Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor.
You looked it up.
Yeah, I googled
it. Don't anyone think that he just knew that because he did not.
But you know what? It takes a lot to go from 2-14 that they were last year, I believe, to being a really good team. And I think that he's going to struggle. Joe Burrow's going to struggle because even though expectations and excitement is very high around Joe Burrow, and I think that Joe Burrow could be a good NFL quarterback. Joe Burrow was not on anybody's radar 2 years ago. He had one good college season, last year, and he did look very good in that one college season. But now he's coming into a team that was drafting first overall for a reason. They aren't really a cohesive unit, in my opinion. Their best wide receivers, AJ Green, who took the entire last year off because he wasn't feeling like playing football.
You're talking a lot about last year, though, and we're talking about 2020.
Okay, well, I'm talking about what my experience has been with quarterbacks coming into poverty franchises that have not been able to succeed.
What experience do you have with that as a Jets fan?
Exactly. So it's going to be difficult for them.
Yeah, I think the Bengals. They went 2-14 last year. I think Joe Burrow does give a little bit of excitement for the franchise.
Sure.
He gets stuff kicking. Zach Taylor's a new coach there. I think the talent on that team is not great, but I will stick with my prediction that Joe Burrow and the excitement around the franchise gives them a 2-game bump. Yep. They do have a hard schedule.
You think they're going 4-12?
I think they're 4-12 team.
I have them at 6-10,
and that's a 2-game bump over last year. They have a pretty rough schedule. They have solid teams that they play, but there's a good 5 winnable-ish games for that team. And I think they could steal one against a good team.
I think they get on a run, and I'm saying 9-7.
That's insane.
9-7 for the Bengals.
Okay.
So I'm going 4-12.
4-12. I'm saying 6-10.
So 4-12 is mine. Fourth place.
All right. So
You said
are they
6-10.
Yeah. Are they your third place team?
That's
then?
my third. Yeah.
Okay. So my third place team is the Steelers.
You have it 9-7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
My third place team is the Steelers, which we already kind of talked about. I have them going 9-7. I think that Ben Roethlisberger is coming back. It's going to help them. They went 8-8 last year, I want to say. And I think that they're going to come back. They're going to do better this year than they did last year. But I don't see them being a contender in this division. I think, I don't want to get too much into what we haven't talked about yet, but I think they got a tough road ahead of them in a division that's going to be very competitive. I think their schedule's got some pretty challenging games on it. And Ben Roethlisberger coming back as an old man after a year off is going to be difficult for him to get back that chemistry with his wide receivers.
All right, so
and no Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown, which he had as offensive weapons the last time he was a quarterback.
The exact reasons I had them in last place. Yeah, they were 8-8 last year. I don't think they're going any better. I think they're 8-8 again.
Yeah.
So you said 9-7 for
9-7 for the
Steelers.
Steelers. Yep.
I actually have it 9-7 as well. In third place.
Okay.
They have, you look at the teams that they play. They play the Titans, the Texans, the Eagles, the Cowboys.
Challenging.
The Bills, Colts are a pretty solid team. And obviously they play the Ravens, Browns, and Bengals twice in their division. It is a challenging schedule. And I talked about Ben Roethlisberger a little bit earlier, where I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to be 75 to 80% of what he once was.
At best.
And he's been fading the last few years that he's been there anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the Big Ben. He's had nagging injuries every year for the last 4 years, I believe he's had.
He's been talking about retiring for a while.
I think this is the last year.
And I think they would be doing very well to get to 9-7. They did lose some talent. Mike Tomlin, I'm not a huge fan of Mike Tomlin as a head coach. I don't think it's a great.
I'm not super low on him, but
I don't think it's a greatly ran organization. I think 9-7's being pretty.
They're
nice
always in the
them.
mix for the most part.
yeah, I don't know if I'd knock the organization. I think that there's a lot of chemistry issues going on there, and Ben's they're
going to have to rebuild at this point.
And I don't think he's the quarterback to do it, and I don't think Mason Rudolph is either. But all right, so
Mason Rudolph, most certainly.
Second place.
Who you got, Rick?
I'm not going to have a big surprise here. I'm going Browns.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's kind of a surprise maybe, but you guys probably all have Browns too. So, for me, this team has all the pieces. I think everything that they need is there. It's just a matter of it actually finally executing, and I think this is the year it happens. I have the Browns at 10-6 this season. I think they're in the playoffs. I think this is the year that it finally all comes together. You just look at that offense. It is stacked. It is so good.
You got Kareem Hunt. You got Nick Chubb. You got Baker Mayfield, who had a slightly reduced year last year, but he's a good quarterback. You got Jarvis. You got Odell.
Yeah,
you got Njoku.
If they don't win 10
offensive
games,
line.
it's criminal.
It is criminal. I agree. I got them at 10-6 also, exactly the same reasons. Their defense is very they got a sneaky good defense.
Yep.
And Kevin Stefanski, the new head coach there, I like him better than Freddie Kitchens exponentially. I think Freddie Kitchens was completely overwhelmed last year, which is why you saw the reduction in production in that offense and team overall. It was not good leadership. I think there's better leadership in there now.
It's going to be a fun team to watch this year.
Of course.
Yeah, so you got them at 10-6 as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I got them at 10-6 as well.
Whoa!
That's straight across. They have the easiest schedule out of any team in the AFC North. They just do. They don't really play any superstar teams except for the Ravens, which are in their own division. They play the Titans, which there's a lot.
They were
of
good last year, but
right. Many people don't think that they're going to do what they did last year. And they play the Texans, and those are like their top echelon of teams that they play.
Right.
Everything else, they have very winnable games throughout the season. I think they
but
do.
But they are playing the Jets. You didn't.
It's gonna be a tough one, bud.
Gonna be a tough one.
Week 16.
Is it week 16?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be an important game, actually.
And then they play Steelers to round out the year.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with Pat. If this team doesn't get 10 wins this year, there's going to be major restructuring. There has to be, because the last 3 years they kind of had, last two, this will be the third, they kind of had some excitement with Baker Mayfield and the talent that's around him.
I mean, what do you mean restructuring? Because they just hired a head coach. They can't fire him after year one. Also,
I think they keep the team, but I think Baker Mayfield is almost done if he doesn't perform this year.
No way.
Yeah, with the talent he's got around him and everything that's going on, they're
not moving on.
They're moving OBJ. They're moving
No, they're not.
You think next year they bring in Aaron Rodgers? See if that works.
I mean, who knows?
That could be.
Who knows?
Well, that should have been in the news actually. That Aaron Rodgers had an interview with
he did
Kyle Brandt. Yep. Where he was talking about, I really wanted to play my career with the Packers. Wanted to.
Why didn't you bring that up, Eddie?
I completely forgot about that.
Everyone can go and listen to the interview.
It was a very telling interview.
He's very dissatisfied right now with everything.
I don't think he's liking the way things are turning out, and I don't blame him. But, I mean, he was in that position as well. He was drafted. He sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre.
No.
You don't draft a rookie quarterback in the first round, trade up to get him.
Right.
You only have a 4-year deal with a rookie with an option of a 5th. You're looking...
He said he's not going to train his replacement. Not going to do it.
I mean neither did Brett Favre, and it worked out okay.
It's similar to the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
It's not exactly the same.
Brett Favre had been talking about retiring for years, and Aaron Rodgers was a projected top 10 draft pick that fell to them unexpectedly at the back of the draft. They traded up for them when they came a game away from being in the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers has been very vocal about the fact that he plans on playing until he's in his 40s.
Yes, but let me get to the point, which is a rookie contract is 4 years with an option of a 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to have usually you want 2 years to evaluate a rookie, so that puts you at 3 years at maximum that you're going to have Aaron Rodgers there before they move on to Jordan Love. I think the writing's on the wall. It's going to happen. You don't get a quarterback in the first round of Jordan Love's talent of an organization and not draft anything for this year without being 3 years maximum. Your current quarterback's going to be there, which is Aaron Rodgers. He's there 3 years
out of
maximum.
the Super Bowl, and Denzel Mims was on the board.
What if Aaron Rodgers opts out by Wednesday for the 2020 season?
Never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
He's too much of a competitor. It's never going to happen.
Not going to happen.
You should have saw Hattie's face.
He would never give up the starting job.
If I was in his position, I would.
I would.
Honestly, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would opt out.
No.
You have nothing to gain.
If you don't play this year at your age, you're done. You have to keep playing.
He's not done. He's done with the Packers and will go somewhere else and sign a new contract, which is probably more money than he's making now.
That would sour that relationship beyond repair.
Everyone had 10-6 for the Browns.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone clearly has Ravens still in first.
Yep.
No upset there.
So it's a matter of how much. I've got him at 11-5.
11-5, first place. I wanted to go 11-5, and I can very much see that scenario. They went 14-4 last year, or 14-2. 14-2.
Mm-hmm.
I have them at 11, or I have them at 12-4. They have.
I thought you had them at 14 wins last week when you recorded this. Did you change that, Hattie?
No.
Did you?
11 or 12-4 was what I thought last week.
12-4, I see it.
They went 14-4 last year. I'm looking at their schedule, and I just don't see if they're 85% of the team they were last year. I don't see where they lose their games.
Yeah, I went 12-4.
The issue.
I went 12-4 as well.
But I do think they're going to have a drop off from last year. Teams have a full year on Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
They can game plan for it. They're going to do what they do with all running quarterbacks. They take the run away. They force you to make the passes that you don't like to make, which in his case, he doesn't have much arc on the ball. He's not a touch passer. He's a very zing-it-in.
He does throw it fast.
And
regardless of the distance.
When you have that type
of
quarterback...
They all knew that during the playoffs last year, too.
I know, but they're going to shut down the run.
Lost to the Titans.
I'm just saying I feel strongly that we're at least 12-4.
I have them at 12-4 just because of their schedule.
I have 11-5. I can see obviously 12-4 as a very real. It's one game off of what my prediction is. I just think that a run like they had last year is pretty uncommon, and I'm not going to sit here and trash Lamar Jackson this year, but I will say that it's a situation where I think there's going to be somewhat of a pullback on the enormous success that he experienced last year.
Oh, he'll for sure pull. He will for sure pull back on his talent and everything that he's got. You look at their schedule, they play 2 elite teams in the Texans and the Chiefs. Everything else is mid to low tier, and they have the benefit of playing their division, which when they're playing the Steelers,
Oh, it's a
Browns,
benefit. We've already discussed it. It's a challenging division.
well, I mean,
I think one of the most challenging divisions this year.
I think it's even, but you put the Ravens against any team in their division, they're favored to win that game. I don't think you'd call any of the last
Of course,
three.
they'd be favored. They were,
Yeah,
the number one team in the NFL
Yes.
But I
going into the
wouldn't-
playoffs.
I wouldn't say any of those 3 teams are top teams in the NFL.
Nobody,
They're middle of the road.
nobody would have said that about the Ravens going into last year.
Especially,
The
But,
ability
I
to
mean,
foresee.
You only can go on what you know of last year.
That's true.
And like the adds and subtractions of
I think
teams.
the Browns are set up where they could be a top team in the NFL if the coaching is right because they have the talent.
Yeah, I can see the Browns winning that division. There's a scenario where I see it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't see. Even if you add those in, they play. If you put the Browns in it as an elite team, they play 4 elite teams next year.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
All right, let's move it along to the next segment.
All right.
All right, so coming into our last segment of the day, what we're going to do here is we are going to do a draft. We're going to snake the draft, right?
I guess so,
1, 2,
yeah.
3, 3,
That's
2, 1.
fair.
That's fair. Of sports teamed logos. All right, so we are going to use NFL, MLB, NHL, and NBA. So all 4 major American sports, and you can't obviously draft the same logo more than once. So the draft order is going to be Rick, me, and Hattie via a rock paper scissors off.
It was
that we did.
intense.
It was very intense. So we need to hurry up so that Hattie can get to bed here tonight at a reasonable time.
Now, are you keeping track of this so we don't have the same ones twice? You writing them down, Hattie?
I'll write
sure.
them
You
down.
gonna write them down?
I'll write them down.
All right, so
writing them down.
my first pick at number 1, best logo in all sports, is the most manly one there is, the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's off the board. The Vikings are gone. That's the best logo.
It is. It's really good, and it pains me because I'm a Packers fan. But
Yeah,
I mean,
it
you
is a
look-
good one.
You look at this logo; it represents the city. It also has the distinguishing marks of a Viking, which is very intricate, and it does it in a simple, like non-busy way.
Very,
it's such a good
very,
logo.
love
very
it.
It's a great pick.
menacing looking.
Yep.
All right, that's a great pick. It's a very solid pick. Not as good as my 101. My 101, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, good
a
one.
Great pick.
Good one.
It was, as soon as I started looking at him, I was like, that is 100% mine. I mean, is there a more, like football and also like a warrior looking
It's pretty
logo?
good. It's almost as good as a Viking, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Vikings was my 102.
All right, all right. All right,
All right,
so,
so
Raiders
I
and Hawks,
get,
you get
I
2
get
picks.
2 picks here, and my first one's going to go in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, no, he did it.
It's such a good logo. Like, it's modern. It's not busy. It's very well designed. It represents the city, the team name. It's got a little bit of everything. The colors match. Like, it's a very good logo. And I'm taking that one as my
right.
first pick. My second pick, since I get to go twice here.
No, he's going to do it.
What am I going to do?
I know what you're taking.
Do you?
It's not the Green Bay Packers. Hattie was talking earlier about how great their G is.
I don't mind. I don't mind the Green Bay Packers, but it's definitely not a top logo. The other one that I really like is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh.
Tampa Bay Bucks is good.
you look
It's on my short list.
You look at that, and it's just it's a great logo. It represents the city. It represents like action
Yeah,
of
that's
a
good.
logo. It's not overdone. They fit 3 swords, a pirate, and a football on that logo, and a flag, and it
Not
still
bad.
looks real good.
Not
Not
bad.
bad. I'm taking it.
I like it. All right, for my second round pick, I am going to go with the Detroit Red Wings. It's the tire with the wings on it. A very classic logo. Probably
Bad pick.
it's not a bad pick.
Oh, that's sick.
I think that's one of the greatest looking logos out there.
It looks like Goodyear tire.
I mean, 5th overall is a little high for Red Wings, but okay.
I like it.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it wasn't on my short list, so it's all good. All
All
right.
right, you guys shut up.
My next
he
pick.
He gets 2.
No,
No, I
no,
don't.
it's sneaking.
It's
Back
a snake.
to me.
Yeah.
Did you pick 2?
I picked
No,
first.
it goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So I
Right.
get one every the middle.
Yeah, he's in
between you
between.
guys.
All right, so at number 6 overall, I'm taking the Memphis Grizzlies. They're off the board.
Very cool logo. Very intimidating. That's gone.
All right.
It's gone.
What sport is that?
That's the NBA.
NBA. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys.
It's a throwback to our NBA days when Daddy was gone.
Yeah, I don't have any idea about any sports other than football, so I'm going to be looking at these and guessing and probably asking for a little bit of help from you guys.
That's okay. That's all right.
I don't watch any sport other than football.
All right, my next one. Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, I got it. That's what I thought you were going with.
I thought about it.
Tommy
The Jaguars?
Tommy went with the
Or
old,
Jaguars?
the old Red Wings.
The Jaguars.
That's okay. The Jaguars.
Yeah.
But now I get 2 picks here.
No, you don't.
Tommy's up first.
Glorious. My 2 picks are not going to be picked by Tommy. I for sure
We'll see.
guarantee it. I guarantee it.
All right, I
Don't pick
am.
mine. Don't do it.
I am going. Should I take the Lakers just to really piss them off?
No, because it's a terrible logo.
It is a terrible
Not
logo.
that great of a logo.
It really isn't a great logo.
It's iconic and recognizable, but that's about it.
I am going to go with. Did I not screenshot the? Okay, there it is. I am going to go with. Man, I'm tilting already.
Come on, pick one already.
Shut up. All right, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. All
Okay.
right? Chicago Bulls.
They're on my short list.
That was on my short list.
That is probably a logo that is associated with winning and dominance and greatness. You know, up there with any other team. I mean, Michael Jordan.
6 championships in what? 7 or 8 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
possibly the greatest
9.
athlete
I
ever.
think it was 9 years, like
amazing.
a 9 years.
Yeah. So, Chicago Bulls. I mean, the bowl looks mean. It's nice and clean. You know, it's got a little bit of detail, but it's not too plain Jane. It's not like,
All right.
cartoonized too much. I like it.
I'm with you.
I like it. And I get 2 picks
You
now,
get
and I'm
2.
going to go with the Carolina Panthers. It's such a good logo. Like it's fierce, represents the team. The colors are great. The detail. I think that's really what the big thing is with a lot of these logos. Some of them look too busy, and some of them are way too plain. When you get that sweet balance, the Panthers logo is cool. It's
Okay.
good. My second one is going to be the Las Vegas Golden Knights. NHL team. And it's such a cool logo. You got the Knight helmet. The colors are awesome. The whole jerseys, if you've ever seen them, are really cool looking.
It's a NBA team.
NHL hockey
NHL.
team. And it's intimidating. It represents Las Vegas perfectly. I love the logo.
Is it this one right here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of mean looking. Looks like a little gladiator helmet or something. So that means that I am up again. Holy Moses. Let's see here. I really wanted that Bucks, Hattie. You had to take it from me. You know what? I'm gonna go with. What do I want to do here?
You got 1 left, Eddie?
2.
No, you doubled up twice now.
Oh, I did. Didn't
Yeah,
I?
you got 1 left.
You got 1 left. I am gonna go with.
You gotta pick it, T-Bone.
I know it's so hard. Well, you know what we should have done? We should have just drafted NFL logos.
No. This is better.
No.
Because it would have been
All
so much
logos.
easier.
Because our listener that suggested this.
I know,
name-
say
but
all
we
keys.
adapted it into a draft.
Yeah,
where
which-
you only get to choose each logo one
I guess
time.
that's true.
You know,
The question came by Dave, good
Yeah,
friend of the podcast
yes.
as well. We should mention that.
a grown man in his own right.
For sure.
Um,
for sure. What's
I
it gonna be, T-Bone?
All
Because
right.
I get 2 picks as soon as you're done here. My last 2.
I know my one's going to still be available, so I don't even care.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah, Bills. It's a pretty mean looking Buffalo.
It's not top
Charging.
5. I mean, it's cool, but not top 5.
Oh man. Okay.
Like,
All
what's
right.
the weird red stripe coming through
It's
it?
like it's charging. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
of what's left in the NFL, I guess it's up there, but
I mean, it's top half, but not top 5.
It doesn't just have to be mean. It's got it's a good looking logo.
Fun-
It's simple, but
and fun fact, we're gonna pick the worst one in each sport here in a couple
yes.
minutes.
And also, I will say a buffalo. It's like a friggin' tank made out of meat.
I mean, that's true.
Like, I'd like to see you.
That's true.
I'd like to see you talk crap about a buffalo to its face.
All right. I got 2 left. My last 2.
Yes.
All right, my last 2 going with the New York Mets.
Okay.
All right? This is the New York skyline, really cool looking logo. I mean, am I a Mets fan? Yes, so that helps. Did I run the bases at Shea Stadium when I was like 12 years old?
We
or
both did.
9 or whatever. Yeah, we both did. It was amazing.
It was
Been
cool.
on the field at MetLife Stadium too.
I have, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, New York Mets logo, iconic to me, right in my heart, and it's awesome with New York City, greatest city in the whole world, so got to go with that one. And then for my last pick...
Wait, hold on. What was that one?
The Mets.
The Mets.
Come on, man. Mets, of course.
I'm trying to look. I have to write these down as I go, and I'm going in between each of you guys, so I have no time to think about what I'm doing here.
All right, my last one I'm going with, a little bit throwback to my heritage, as well as a little rivalry to New York. I'm going with the Boston Celtics.
All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a little bit busy though.
It was on my list, and I don't think it's too busy.
That's awesome.
It is kind of cool.
Iconic.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the logo for like an Irish pub.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's why it fits.
But like one that wasn't able to pay a logo or graphic designer
No.
very much money.
Boston Celtics, I mean, one of the best basketball franchises ever. Maybe the best ever.
We don't know nothing
No,
about
Lakers
basketball.
are the best
Yeah,
ever.
let's not get carried away now. We're
Oh,
talking
the
all
best.
time here.
Yeah, all time Lakers.
All right. Anyways, that's my last pick.
All right.
All right. Oh, good.
It was on my. I was between two here, picking my last one since I only have one, and that was one of them. And it kills me that both the Vikings and the Celtics, arch rivals of my favorite teams, have such good logos.
So nice. All right, Tommy, what's it going to be?
I'm going to pick the Browns.
No, we're not to that part of the show yet.
Orange helmet. Oh, gotcha. Oh, Lord. This really is hard.
What's it going to be?
Shut up.
You got like 1,000 to pick from here.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. It's like there's a lot of cool looking ones, but like, what am I going for? Am I going for mean? Am I going for clean? Am I going
You
for...
got to go for, like, does it represent the team or the city? Is it iconic where somebody could look at it and know what it is that's maybe not a fan of it?
And does picking it make you a grown man?
And just picking makes you a grown man.
Come on now. What's it going to be?
Washington football team. Gotta go with it.
Oh, that was my joke. I was going to use it. You stole it.
Oh, Lord. All right. I am going to go...
I mean, just like he stole the fake Patagonia hat over there.
That's a good point.
Not even real.
It's not even real like our shirts.
I mean,
All right,
it's
if we're
got a
going
little
for
teal stripe
if
up
we're going
there, too,
for
like our shirts.
iconic,
It's close.
if we're going for iconic, I'm going Yankees.
Come on! I was like, there's no way T-Bone's picking that.
And also, people listening are like, "How did Yankees make it to the second to last pick of the?"
Because it's an NY. Because it's baseball ones are terrible.
I didn't
Okay,
think
but we're
anyone
not
picked
looking
it.
at that, dude. We're looking at the actual like.
Yeah, but what's the actual one for the Yankees? Show me.
It's good. That one right there.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's super iconic.
Okay.
Very
and
iconic.
Represents the city. It's just.
And also, the NY is also incredibly iconic. The one that's on the hat. But,
It's iconic, yes.
and just so everybody knows, we are picking based off of like if you search NBA logos, it's not necessarily. Well, I don't know. NBA probably has.
It's not
that,
necessarily
but
what's on the hat. It's
Right.
not necessarily what's in the ESPN app or something.
Right.
It's what came up with Google Images.
right. And
Because when it comes to the NBA, we had to Google image it.
right. And the NHL. Let's be honest.
I mean, I had to Google the NHL, but the NBA, I know.
All right, so you
And
took Yankees.
MLB,
So what rounds out the end of the draft at number
Oh,
15
Mr. Fancy
overall?
Pants over there. Hurry up. Make
I took
your pick.
Celtics. He took
Yeah, it's
Yankees.
hard,
What are you
isn't
going to do?
I mean, those were my two that I was flipping between for my last pick, and you both took them.
Yep.
Man, that makes it real tough now for me. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right,
Why don't you just go with the Miami Marlins? What an awful logo.
There's a lot of bad ones.
Sorry,
in the,
Marlins
in the
fans.
MLB. Just super bad.
Yeah, there
but
are.
I think I got to go over to the NHL. There's two ones that I'm looking at, and
You can just say it out loud because, at this point,
Yeah.
nobody else is picking.
I think I was
Which one's
between
you between?
the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Coyotes. I don't even know what city they're from. I don't. I have to Google it.
The one that's howling at the moon?
Yeah.
That looks like it should be on the shirt of my grandfather.
But I think it's a well-designed and different Coyote.
Maple Leafs as a
But
possible contender.
I think I'm going with the Maple Leafs.
Wow.
It represents the...
It's not even the old Maple Leafs logo. It's this like blue one.
They updated it.
It represents an entire country.
It represents the country very well. It's an
I think
iconic...
we only have one listener in Canada, so
It's an iconic
Well,
logo.
you're welcome.
They added a little bit of detail in the update of the Toronto Maple Leafs
I like
logo. I like it. It's good. It kind of has like the old school like club feel, where like the way
It
the
does,
wording
yes.
is on the leaf, and it's just old school but new and modern and not too busy.
I do like it.
It's a
It's
good
better
logo.
than that one with a D with a star.
yeah.
Whatever
I
that
would
is.
buy a hat that had that logo, the Maple Leafs logo on it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is. There's our 15.
All right, so
draft.
I'll recap here for us. So Pat's draft of logos is the Vikings, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Mets, and the Boston Celtics.
That's a good draft. That
is good.
Mine
I'll
is
admit, that's good.
the Las Vegas Raiders, the Detroit Red Wings. I like the way it looks.
Okay.
It's a nice looking logo, I think.
Overdrafted.
All right, well, whatever. It was on my list of 5 when we were just picking 5.
All right, what's the rest of yours?
The Chicago Bulls, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Yankees.
All right.
I think that's a solid draft.
That's a dud draft if I ever saw one.
It's
You're a
not
fool.
bad. That second pick's real rough, though.
The Bills.
So we're going to cover over
Oh,
the...
I'm sorry. I have to recap yours also.
You do. Yeah.
And Hattie's was the Milwaukee Bucks, the
good.
Tampa Bay Bucks. 2 bucks in a row, going 1-2 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little bit
They were
strange.
nice.
Yeah, good logos.
Carolina Panthers, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and I almost said tomato maple leaves.
Tomato maple leaf.
Toronto Maple Leafs. My handwriting is chicken scratch.
That's pretty solid right there. I like
Yeah, of
it.
course you
I
think
mean,
it.
I definitely won the draft, but I did go first, so.
That's true.
I mean, it's debatable who won the draft. Yeah, I don't know if it was
All right, so we gotta go worst logos. We're gonna do worst logos from each sport. We're not
From
gonna
each
draft
sport.
them, but
Let's just
start.
all agree on it.
Yeah, let's start with. Let's go with
NHL.
We'll end with NFL.
yeah.
NHL. Capitals is pretty bad. It just says Capitals.
Well, it's a hockey stick. in there.
Nah, I don't mind the Capital. I think the Calgary.
I think the Ducks,
Which one's the Ducks?
because of what they did to their awesome Mighty Ducks logo, I think they should be the worst. This one right here, this gold thing.
I think the Calgary Flames is
That's
the
the
worst.
Ducks. That doesn't
Yeah.
look anything like a duck.
That's the Ducks from Anaheim.
It's so bad, and the Mighty Ducks
Which one-
used to be so cool.
Which one is this one that just looks like a forest with a moon? Whichever one has just a forest, like the
That one's not bad. I don't mind that one.
the
I think-
Cincinnati woods.
It might be.
I think the colors are a little bit off, but the logos.
Which is the mascot? Like, what is it? The wildlife?
Forest.
I think it's a bear.
It's not a bear. Where do you
bear
see a
there.
bear in there, man?
Man, I'm looking.
There's
you
a hundred-
Googling that?
Well, no, I'm just trying to see.
100% not a bear.
I think it's a bear.
Sometimes I can figure it out.
It could be like a cougar, maybe.
What are we in? NHL?
NHL.
Okay, hang
Um,
on. Minnesota
The Minnesota Bears.
Wild. Well, that makes sense.
The
Then.
Minnesota Wild.
All right.
They can't even pick an animal.
also, this one that's a sea with a shark attached to it. That's a pretty bad looking logo, man. This one right here.
It's pretty bad graphics.
I think that's the.
It looks like something I would have made in Microsoft Paint.
That's Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's the Canucks.
You just really offended an entire nation.
And you know, hockey's real big up there too.
Yeah, it's clearly not a shark though.
But also, apparently, Maple Leafs don't represent an entire nation, so
I guess so.
they just represent
Hey,
Toronto.
I think the worst ones are the Calgary Flames and the Avalanche. Which
Calgary
I don't
Flames
know.
is pretty weak.
It's
It looks like
such a
it looks like
bad
something
logo.
that it looks like something that your band would have had for a logo in high school, Pat.
It really looks like
I thought the Avalanche was pretty bad, but
it looked like Avalanche is bad, but it's like '90s style. Like that's what it was in the '90s.
Calgary
Calgary
Flames.
Flames is like
I'm good with Calgary
clip art.
Flames.
All right, let's move on.
Move it
the
along.
Flames is the worst
Let's go on
logo
to
in all of hockey.
NBA next.
NBA.
All right, NBA's got some pretty bad ones.
What? I think this is the most solid league for logos. To be honest.
I agree. Next to the NFL, of course. But Tommy was saying this earlier. I don't know. That Kings logo is pretty bad.
It's so dumb. It's like you could have made a crown. Your thing is kings. Like you could
It's
make a
kind of
really
crown.
cool.
It's kind of a crown.
Is it?
I guess.
I mean, it'd be a pretty abstract crown.
I'm not sure what the 76ers is trying to do here, other than just
You could have had it be like a scepter, with a crown hanging off the top of it, or something
Right.
cool like that.
I'll go along with the Kings logo, but I think by far the worst one for me personally is the Cavaliers. I think it's an awful logo.
Are they in the same division or whatever as the Lakers?
No, actually, the Kings are in the same division as the Lakers.
Okay, which one's the Cavaliers?
the Cavaliers has a sword in it at least.
19, if you're looking at the same list as we are.
I'm just looking at
Right there.
whatever I screenshotted. Okay.
It's not great. The Kings is not great. And quite frankly, the 76ers should be such a great team. Terrible logo.
So that's a real old classic logo.
You know what it is,
that they
but
brought
it's also
back.
real crap.
Yeah. As in 1776ers, like the Americans.
Well, I mean, I think
I'm not gonna make it that because it's the
Also, the Clippers. No,
it's-
not really happening.
It's the club stamp. Like the if you look at the
guess so.
Atlanta Hawks basketball club, which I
Right.
think is a pretty classic, like
Yeah.
you're a club stamp team, and that's kind of what they
Yeah.
do with the
All right,
76ers.
fine. You know what? We're gonna concede on this one. I'm gonna give you Cavaliers.
I said I would agree with the Kings. Like I'll do either one of those. I'll agree with either one.
Let's just
I think Kings are trash.
let's agree they're both bad.
I think Kings deserve to be the worst because Kings is a really bad one, and they could have done something cool with it. Cavaliers is like, what even is a Cavalier?
All right, moving on to baseball. Kings wins.
All right, baseball. There's a lot of bad ones in baseball.
ton
Like,
of
there's
bad
just a bunch of them that are just circles with their names in them.
Yeah.
Well, are you looking at this one?
I
No.
think
Send it to me.
For-
sure.
for me, I think it's the Giants. That's a terrible logo. It's literally a baseball in the background and then big old giant.
At least it's a baseball. Look at the Reds. What? It just says
Yeah.
Reds.
I would agree with the Reds as well. I think the Reds is terrible.
And honestly, as iconic as it is, Oakland A's is pretty bad.
Oakland A's ain't great,
I don't mind the.
but you know what? It's kind of classic looking. Colorado Rockies, low key awful. It looks like something that would have been
That
on
came out on Windows 98.
It looks like it would have been on a water bottle in
It
the
does
mid-90s.
look like a Windows 98 logo.
Imagine that on a water bottle in the mid-90s.
All right,
right?
I can see it.
Well,
I think that's in the running.
I think the Padres are pretty bad.
Padres
too.
are real bad.
We're the Padres.
On the right.
I'm not looking at the same one as you. Right does me no good.
It's that one right there.
We are looking at two different lists.
That one.
All right, that's real bad.
It's pretty bad.
So it's down to the Reds and Padres for me.
I would agree with either one.
I think Rockies is
They're all
worse.
real bad.
At least the Rockies have.
Let me see the Padres one
has
again.
the Rockies.
At least it has the Rockies in there.
Your Padres is pretty bad based on that list.
I
Let me
will
see, let me
say-
see this list that you have.
Yeah, look at it.
I will say,
I like how you didn't just forward it to me because it takes like 2 seconds to hit the arrow and then just send it to me so we'd all be on the same
All right,
list.
all right.
I will say
You
the Kansas
loser.
City Royals
It's bad.
looks like a $29.99 special hotel that you you would never stay in.
And Detroit is just a fancy looking like old-fashioned D.
No offense to the Kansas City Royals fans, but
This
you're
is-
like
this
a
is an
$20
older
a night
list.
hotel.
This list is older than the one I'm looking at
All I'm saying is Padres deserves to lose.
because the Braves logo on this is not the one that they use anymore.
Well, they have a couple different ones.
but they don't use that anymore.
Can we agree that Padres though is the worst?
Yeah, I'll agree with Padres.
All right, let's move on. To
It's
the
real
All right, I'll
bad.
give
It's
it
like
to you.
it's like got home plate in an ocean for Padre. It's like it's an ocean.
All right, so NFL. Browns in the running.
Obviously.
Browns are
Washington
definitely-
football team, I'm not going to put in the mix
Nah.
because that's not their logo.
Not
They're
forever.
transitioning.
Let's just agree though that it's awful.
Washington football team?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an
a
awful
W.
name, but there's not even a logo. It's just
Exactly.
their name.
All right, so Browns
So-
have to be. in the
Browns,
mix.
I mean,
It's gonna be hard to lose.
it's
to the
going to be
Browns.
real hard to lose to the Browns because that's been their logo for a long
And yet
time.
the Rams are right there with their new logo.
I don't mind the new Rams logo.
This one,
That's not their.
that's pretty bad.
That's used on some of it. That's not.
Yeah,
the
that's
real
not
logo.
their logo.
I hate the Bengals and the Bears. Like, they're all orange logos too, but they're all real bad.
Bengals is bad. It's just like a B with the stripes on it.
Yep.
Same
you
with
could do so
Bears and
much-
Packers and Bengals. We're all in the same boat. They're just the letter.
Yeah, but
Cardinals
I don't know.
Cardinals is pretty bad too. I mean, it's been so long without them doing anything to it, and it's like and it's so cartoony.
I don't mind the Cardinals. I think it looks fine.
What about that new Dolphins logo?
I don't even mind the
Dolphins
Dolphins. logo.
ain't great. I don't know why they went away from the dolphin with the helmet on it. That would
Yeah,
look
it was
mean.
way cooler.
Way cooler. Steelers is pretty dumb too.
I don't like the Steelers either.
And it's only on
but-
one side of their helmet. They don't have that logo.
You
on.
know what? Let's make a bold statement here and decide the Steelers is the worst logo in the NFL.
It's pretty bad.
The Browns is better than the Steelers.
I'm gonna go with it.
Because
All right.
it's got the small print where it says Steelers on it.
Yep.
In my opinion, the Steelers are not only the last team in the NFL North in 2020, but they have the worst logo, and my grown men friends here agree
I'm
with that.
Yeah.
on board.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go with
Steelers worst NFL logo. What a fall from grace for a storied franchise.
Yeah, That's all we got tonight.
That's all we
Other
got.
than our whiskey coming up.
So we really like to appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening, and thank you, Rick, for coming on the show today. It's been quite a while. Hopefully, we'll have you on again here soon.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty good episode, honestly.
I think so, but I don't know if we should be tooting our own horn while we're on the air.
I had a good time.
For the episode to be over for that.
The Patagonia surprise was awesome.
Oh, that was better than expected.
The sour
was
beer
amazing.
was not. It was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it. Also, if you did enjoy it, make sure that you rate and review the podcast on whatever app you're using. We really appreciate that. It does help us out with getting found by other people. Let your friends know. If you guys like the podcast, make sure you let your friends know. That right there goes a long way with helping us, because then we'll know that you guys are appreciating, because our numbers will grow, and we'll be like, hey, people like the podcast. That's good.
You're a grown man if you do.
And you can go on Twitter at GrownMansPod and let us know there, or on Instagram at GrownMansPodcast. You can send us an email to grownmanspodcast@gmail.com, or you can put a letter in the mail just to GrownMansPodcast, and the post office will know what to do with it, if the post office still exists. A little bit up in the air right now. This is not a political podcast. We're not going to get into that. But
time will tell.
And we also want to, again, thank our Patreon supporters, Darlene, Gus, Barry, and Wes. Thank you guys so much. Patreon.com/GrownMansPodcast if you guys want to become a grown man. Other than that, Hattie, roll the music, and we'll get into that whiskey tasting after the music.
All right, sounds good.
So thanks for sticking around for the show after the show, where we let our hair down and open the kimono a little bit. Just relax, and Ricky...
I'm more of a moo-moo guy myself.
I'm actually a robe guy, but this has been already talked about on the podcast.
To be clear, I'm not actually a moo-moo.
I'm more of a reveal the Patagonia t-shirt underneath kind of guy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
a little
cool.
Throwback right there.
Yeah, man.
So you want to hear about what we're drinking tonight, T-Bone?
Yeah, why don't you tell us? I mean, I already know, but why don't you tell the audience?
Yeah, we're going to be drinking Willett 4-Year Rye. And I've read up on this quite a bit, so I picked up a bottle this week. Actually, our local liquor store just recently increased their inventory, and this was one of the things they added to it. So I don't know if you'll be able to find it where you're at, but it is really nice. It's 109 proof, so it is a little bit stronger than your typical rye. But I think, in my opinion, it is just around the same smoothness as maybe an 85-90 proof, just because that rye's always got a little bit of that spiciness to it.
I do love rye.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a little harsher, so, if that's your thing, enjoy the Willett 4-Year.
I also love rye bread.
Yeah.
You throw rye in something, I'm probably going to consume it.
Do a little rye dip in there.
Oh,
rye boat?
Oh, yeah. That's what we're missing right now, is a rye boat.
A rye boat would be real good.
I'd be all about
Do you
a rye
think
boat.
outside of upstate New York that anyone knows what a rye boat is?
I don't know.
That might be a regional thing.
You think that might be a regional
It
thing?
can't possibly be a regional
It might
thing.
be.
Sometimes...
I bet rye dip
Just so
is
you know,
very
a
regional
rye
thing.
boat is a pumpernickel round loaf that is then cut up, and then inside of it they put
Pumpernickel and rye marbled bread.
marbled rye.
and then they in the middle put a little bit of like a ranch style rye
It's
dip.
more of a sour cream.
It's a dill dip.
Dill, rye.
It's like a sour
dill
cream.
ranchy, sour
dill
creamy
dip. It is glorious.
It is
so
good, though.
good.
You
If
can't-
you were in London or wherever Gus is, he's in England somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where exactly.
He's our
he is.
international ambassador of the podcast.
If you've never heard of the rye boat, Gus, check it out.
He's an international man of mystery, so you can't know exactly.
It'll
where you're
taste
at.
better to you than the. What'd you guys try?
The Marmite.
Marmite did
Or
to
the
us.
Yeah,
Piccadilly,
Marmite.
Piccalilli sauce.
Oh,
that was
man.
the worst.
Uh,
I think Piccalilli was worse than... Piccalilli was like drinking a sour beer.
let me tell you,
No.
I just
I'm
had a
surprised
sour
you
beer.
didn't like it, Hattie,
Wasn't
you
that
old
bad.
grosso.
All right, so what do you guys think on the nose on this?
Okay.
All right, so bring up your official
So we should
podcast
actually,
ranking
'cause
list.
normally we do that before we start the whiskey tasting.
We do.
So let's pause it real quick and do it on
Yep.
our spreadsheet so that we can talk about it in a timely fashion.
Yep, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so it's been a second for you guys, but it's been like, I don't know, like a bunch of seconds for us, because we went through and we ranked the the whiskey like we normally do with our spreadsheet, which we mean to get up on our Patreon page.
Yeah, you should get on that.
That was like time travel.
One of us should. It is like time traveling.
One of us should.
Yeah. I don't know how to do that
edit
stuff.
the podcast every week.
I handle all of our Twitter stuff. That's like a full-time job.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
The nose on the whiskey. So we did say what it was, right?
Yeah, it's a Willett 4-year rye.
So
Well, it's the family estate blended small batch.
Yeah.
It's 109.4 proof.
yep. So what did this bottle rock you?
This is about a $55 bottle, somewhere in that range.
All right.
So it's right there. I mean,
Kind of normal.
slightly
Middle of the
high,
road.
it's slightly
A
higher
little
than
high
maybe,
for a rye,
yeah,
but
but very
I
low.
think
Angel's
50
Envy rye is like 90.
Yeah,
so.
I think
Yeah.
50 to $60 is your average
Yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah.
If you're not
I
buying,
agree. 50 is right there. You know,
Yeah.
I buy a lot of bourbon, so I'm usually in the 30 to 50 range, but 50 is right there, the price that I'm willing to pay.
And Willett, I've had their bourbon. You know, for me, this is much better than their bourbon.
Yeah.
well, this is like the whole story behind it. This is actually a Willett distillery bourbon.
Yeah, it's not the
where
mass-produced one.
The mass-produced ones that you commonly get are not made by Willett. It's
Exactly.
just a huge corporation
sell
that
it.
pumps it out and puts their name on
Right.
it. Yep.
All right, so let's start here with the nose. So what do you guys like about the nose? What do you dislike?
For me, the thing that hits me, and I know you guys might feel a little differently, but it's a lemon meringue pie for me. I'm getting
Okay.
lots of citrus, lots of lemon and grapefruit. I really enjoy it. Of course, you have the rye, nose in there, but the other thing that pops out to me is that.
Yeah, I get a lot of the rye nose.
Mm-hmm.
I get a little bit of like a cinnamon spice.
Yeah.
But then everything else is like a dried fruit that you'd get like on a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
So you get the dates, you get the raisins, a little bit of cranberry.
Yeah.
Like I get those notes.
Okay.
Yeah, I get. I feel it's a sweet nose for sure. I don't get a lot of citrus on it, but I do get like Hattie said, like a dried raisin. It's like sticking your nose in unfolding the paper on the pack of Sunkist raisins and then sticking your nose in there. Like that's exactly what.
Which
it
is
smells
what
like.
we've all done.
Well, I don't eat raisins, so the smell of raisins is the only experience I have with it.
It's similar, I guess. Yeah.
And I on the back end of the nose on it, I get a little bit of pininess.
Okay.
I can see a little bit of little pine.
Yeah.
What about the taste? What do you think about
So
that?
what was your number on the nose?
I give it a
okay.
7.5.
I gave it a 7.
I give it a 6.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Mouthfeel and smoothness is the next category. So it is a higher proof whiskey.
Yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
It's probably, if not, well, I don't know. Have we done the Buffalo Trace or Wild
George T.
The Stag?
the
I
Stag?
think we've done the George T.
Have we? I don't know if we have. I know
I
we've
think
had.
we have.
Okay.
Well,
I
we
think we've
should
done every
soon if
whiskey.
we
This is
that
right
I've
up there
had.
with the sharpest,
That and Booker's,
the
they're both up
strongest,
there.
alcohol that we've had on
This
the,
is really, really smooth for the proof, though.
Yeah, it is really smooth. I'm not a huge fan of real high proof whiskeys or cask strengths. I think this one's sharp at the beginning and then mellows off real quickly. Like you get a hit of alcohol at the beginning and then it kind of mellows out.
Yeah. So I knocked this one a little bit for the sharpness of it, which is just inherent in the fact that it's a higher proof alcohol. But I pulled it back up a little bit for the fact that it does have a very soft mouthfeel to it. I gave it a 6.5 for mouthfeel and smoothness.
I gave it a 6.5 as well.
I gave it a 5.
Okay. Hattie always ranks lower,
Oh,
unless it's a Scotch.
of course.
I rank.
I know, I'm just busting
even
your
when I
balls.
have scotches, they're lower than everybody
I know.
else.
I just bust your balls.
Flavor?
So flavor, I really like it. The first thing that hit me after tasting it, I mean, the overwhelming flavor to me is butterscotch. It's like eating a Werther's.
It is very butterscotch. I get a lot of honey. And that where you were talking raisin, I taste nothing but dried apricot in that flavor. It's so good.
See, I get a
Like
little
on a
bit,
charcuterie board.
Yeah, I get
Apricot.
some of the dried fruits on like a charcuterie board. So in the flavor for me, like you get a little bit of the alcohol like right at the beginning, and then you get like the dried fruits. But then it kind of goes into like a pastry at the end.
Yeah, I get that too.
And then when it really mellows off, like after it's in your mouth for a couple seconds, like you really get like some allspice. Like I was explaining like before we went back on air, like a crumbled topped apple pie with like some allspice and cinnamon on
There's
top.
definitely allspice in there.
That you get like real late.
Yeah.
So just don't sip it too fast. And just like
Yeah.
let it mellow in your
It
mouth
stays
for
on
like
the
a
palate
minute.
a while.
It's nice.
And, and it's still there. Like
It's robust. It's complex.
I got a nice crumbled top apple pie in my mouth right
I
now.
gave
That's real
I
nice.
gave it a 6.5.
So for flavor, I gave it a 7.5. I love a robust flavored whiskey. That's my thing.
Yeah, I gave it a 6, and I think it's that and the aftertaste for me are the highest ranked things of the whiskey.
So we can do all three of those right there: flavor, balance, complexity, and aftertaste as the categories. We can just run through them. I gave balance and complexity a 7.5. Also, I feel like it's got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna right here on the fly. I'm adjusting my balance complexity.
I am too because I'm gonna drop it down to a 7 for me.
I'm going with a 7, and then aftertaste. I think it's a 7 as well.
I give it a 7 for aftertaste as well.
I think it's a really it lingers nicely.
I mean, it's I haven't sipped in probably a minute and a half, and it's still like right there.
Yep, a little bit of warmth. I have the balance and complexity at 6, which is the same as my flavor, and I gave the aftertaste a 6.
Okay.
So I ended them all the same, kind of like you guys did, a 6, 6, and a 6.
Mark of the beast.
So what'd you give it overall?
Overall is a 58 for me.
I gave it a 71.
I was a 68, and for me that's right up there with
I love it.
better whiskeys.
I really like it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of rye. I think this one's very unique and very good. I'm also not a huge fan of high alcohol content. I like it in the 40 to 45-ish percentage range. But I mean, this one is super unique. I like it a lot, and honestly, like it's significantly higher than like the last 3 or 4 weeks on the podcast.
Yeah, we got to hit a bad stretch there.
We had a bad stretch, and this is definitely drinkable.
Yep.
I
Definitely
tasted
unique.
that Japanese one you tried last week.
It was not good.
Not good. No.
It was not good. But this one, like I like this for a high proof rye bourbon. Like I think this is a very good whiskey.
Yeah. I really like it. Smoothness is one of the least important qualities to me. I mean, I don't want something that's like choking me with alcohol bite, but as far as what I look for, a strong flavor with a lot of complexity that sticks around for a while. That's got all that.
And I like
in droves.
I like rye. I also
do too.
am a bigger fan of cast strength.
Yeah, I'm not so much. I'd rather it be 80 proof.
No,
80 to 90 proof whiskey like Hattie.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a big fan of that 105 to 115 range.
You really got to slow her down when you're drinking because you can't.
You do, but
like
you
that,
know what? I don't mind slowing it down.
That black bottle you got from Four Fights.
The distiller's cut is real high, and then also I have an Old Forester that we should try sometime on here. It's 115.
Yeah,
that's really nice too.
See, I'm a pretty quick drinker. I mean, I can go through 8 bottles or 8 glasses of water like it's nothing. Same with beer. I drink it pretty quick. So the higher proof whiskeys, I probably drink it.
Stay away from it.
Like I probably drink it a little bit quicker than I should to enjoy it.
Right.
But that's just me. The one interesting thing that I got on this Willett, though, is it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Like most whiskeys, the first sip
Yeah.
is something, and then the second one kind of changes it, and then like throughout, you're kind of like what you really get, like your middle sips, and then the last sip is significantly different.
Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing.
No, like because it's like the kind of like the journey of the whiskey.
Right.
This one's unique that the first sip tastes exactly like the last one.
Yeah.
Like I got through my whole glass here, and it's every sip was the same. Like it didn't get harsher, it didn't get smoother.
Agreed.
The flavor was very the same throughout the entire thing. So I mean that's kind of neat for a whiskey. Like that's pretty unique.
And there's a really nice after nose when the glass is empty and you get to that point. You let it dry up a little bit. It's got kind of that tobacco smell to it. That you might.
The empty nose is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Favorite of the whole whiskey drinking experience is the empty nose.
Yep, exactly.
You get
Whereas
so much
when I'm like when I'm in the like an eating mood and I'm eating pizza or sub and you have to take your last bite, so sad.
Yeah.
But when you finish the whiskey, you still get to enjoy.
Because you know what, you get so much more depth out of the nose of a whiskey when it's all gone than you do.
So you know what I get on the empty nose?
You definitely get more tobacco out of it.
I get tobacco,
rubber band,
and I get the
rubber band.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that rubber band. I get like more of the.
Yeah, I can see that. That's weird. Good nose.
I get like a little bit of black currant.
Yes,
currant,
black currant.
Yep. And
a little bit
elderberry.
Of like actual pepper, elderberry. Yep.
I'm getting a lot of Red Man tobacco.
Yeah, it's very tobacco-y, which I like. Like we have candles that are like tobacco scented, and they smell nice.
I love an empty nose. I really do.
It's real good.
Yep.
So, anyways, Willett 4-year. That's a win.
I will say it
I
will.
like it a lot.
Rye. Will it?
It will.
If you guys watch Good Mythical Morning, you'll know what I'm talking about.
just to recap, I gave it 58. And Patrick, would you give it?
I was a 68.
And I gave it a 71.
And you're a 71?
Yep.
So that's probably what I would expect.
Yeah.
For a high proof bourbon, that's what I would expect the rankings
really liked
to
it.
be. But yeah, I think it's above average, like very good bourbon.
I think the bottle
like,
could
it's
use some
very,
work.
Very good.
Not the best
I
looking
like
bottle.
it.
I
think
like
it's
the bottle.
beautiful. Look at that
I think the
size.
stamp
It's
is real
kinda-
cool.
I don't know.
It's your Pappy bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's a Buffalo Trace bottle, like
Yeah.
it is. But I think the label's real cool.
Nice coat of arms.
The stamp with like
Raised
the
up. Yeah, with the
whatever kind of bird that's on
silver-
top of there.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think it's a classy
Not my
looking
favorite.
bottle.
I don't like the wine bottle look in whiskeys.
Yeah.
Usually.
To each
That's
his
just
own.
me. All right, thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it, and thanks for sticking around for the whiskey tasting. Until next time, stay manly.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care.